Most people think Pinocchio is about lying. They remember the nose, the rule, and the idea that honesty fixes things. It feels like a clean story. Say the truth and everything goes back to normal. That's why people think they understand him right away. He's filed away early, usually somewhere near bedtime stories and gentle warnings. Nothing complicated, nothing worth revisiting. He's also easy to spot. Everyone has met someone like him. Someone who answers too quickly, someone who says yes before thinking, someone who repeats what they think they're supposed to say, even if it doesn't quite fit. People often describe him as naughty or dishonest. Sometimes they call him immature. These explanations are neat. They make the situation feel controlled. If he's lying, then the problem is clear. If he's immature, then time will fix it. But Pinocchio doesn't behave like someone who is trying to fool others. When he says something untrue, it usually sounds unsure. The words come out fast, like he's racing the moment. It feels less like a trick and more like a guess. What people recognize, even if they don't maim it, is the effort. He's trying to keep up. He's trying to match the room. He's trying to sound right, even when he's not sure what right is yet. This is why adults react so quickly to him. They step in early. They correct him gently. They explain things twice. They feel responsible for how he comes across. Children notice something else. They notice that he wants to be good. They notice that he wants approval. They recognize the feeling of saying something and immediately wishing they could take it back. That's what makes him familiar across ages. Not the lie itself, but the moment before it, the hesitation, the pressure to answer, the small panic of wanting to belong to the conversation. People don't usually say this out loud. They stick with the nose. It's easier. It keeps things simple and moral. But the recognition happens anyway, quietly, almost automatically. Because most people haven't just seen Pinocchio before. They've been him, at least once. When Pinocchio enters a room, nothing obvious happens. People don't tense up right away. No one prepares for trouble. He doesn't look threatening. He doesn't sound confident enough to be. The discomfort arrives slowly. It shows up in how closely people listen. Someone who was half paying attention before suddenly focuses, not because Pinocchio is important, but because the timing of his words feels unpredictable. He speaks quickly. Sometimes he answers before the question is finished. Sometimes he agrees before he understands what he's agreeing to. His responses feel slightly ahead of the moment, like he's trying to catch something that keeps moving. At first, people smile. They read it as enthusiasm. They assume it will settle on its own. Then he says something that doesn't quite line up. It's not shocking, it's not dramatic, it's just off. The details don't fit together cleanly. The tone doesn't match the situation. The room adjusts without anyone saying why. Someone corrects him softly as if helping. Someone else laughs a little too fast just to keep things light. Another person suddenly checks their phone or looks away. These reactions happen automatically. No one decides to do them. Pinocchio notices the shift, even if he doesn't understand it. He can feel that something changed. The air feels thinner. The attention feels sharper. So he tries to fix it. He talks more. He explains what he meant. He adds extra details that weren't asked for. He fills the space because silence feels dangerous now. This is where the discomfort grows, not because of what he's saying, but because people start working around him. They rephrase his words. They clarify for him. They answer questions on his behalf. It's all polite. No one is annoyed out loud, but the room becomes careful. People choose their words more slowly. They check his face before reacting. Pinocchio senses that he's being handled gently, that something about him needs managing. He doesn't know what part caused it, only that it's happening. The discomfort doesn't peak, it just lingers. Nothing breaks, nothing resolves. Everyone stays nice. And everyone leaves the interaction slightly tired, without being able to say why. You don't usually notice this behavior right away in real life. It doesn't stand out. It blends in. It often looks like politeness, eagerness, or good intentions. You see it in people who want to do the right thing but aren't sure what the right thing is yet. They answer quickly in meetings. They agree before they've fully thought it through. They repeat what others say, hoping it will land correctly this time. It shows up in classrooms, at work, in families. It shows up in people who are new, younger, or just unsure of their place. They don't want to slow things down. They don't want to be the problem, so they speak before they're ready. Others usually respond kindly. They correct gently, they explain again, they smooth things over. On the surface, it looks supportive, and often it is. But there's also a quiet shift that happens. People start anticipating mistakes. They jump in faster. They stop waiting for the person to finish. Not out of cruelty, but efficiency. The behavior gets excused easily. They mean well. They're trying. They're still learning. All of that is true. And because it's true, no one questions the pattern itself. The person doing it learns something too. They learn that silence feels risky. They learn that filling the space is safer than waiting. They learn that being quick matters more than being accurate. So the pattern repeats. Everyone involved feels like they're being kind. Everyone believes they're helping. And no one notices how familiar this has all become, because this isn't about lying. It's about wanting to belong to the moment before the moment has fully arrived. And most people have seen that before. Up close. Often. After the interaction ends, nothing is clearly wrong. No one complains. No one brings it up later. It doesn't feel serious enough to mention, even to yourself. People move on with their day. Still, something small stays behind. Not a memory of what was said, but a feeling of effort. The sense that the conversation required more attention than usual. People often forget the details quickly. They don't remember the words. They remember the pace, how often they adjusted, how often they stepped in without thinking about it. Later, they might feel oddly tired. Not the kind of tired that needs rest, the kind that comes from being slightly alert for too long. They usually don't connect that feeling to Pinocchio. It feels unfair to do so. He didn't mean any harm. He was trying. Everyone knows that. So the feeling gets brushed aside. The person at the center often leaves with something heavier. They know the moment didn't land the way they hoped. They replay it later, quietly, without a clear answer. They wonder if they talked too much, or too fast, or said the wrong thing at the wrong time. They don't usually land on the truth. The truth is vague, hard to point at. So next time, they try to improve. They prepare more. They answer faster. They add explanations before anyone asks. Others notice this too. They become quicker to help, faster to clarify. They don't wait as long. Not because they've decided to, but because it feels easier that way. Over time, the pattern settles in. It becomes familiar, predictable, almost invisible. No one calls it a problem because no one feels harmed. Everything stays polite. Everything keeps working. That's why nothing changes. The same small misunderstandings repeat in different rooms with different people. Each time it feels minor. Each time it leaves the same quiet residue. Not enough to confront, not enough to fix, just enough to recognize. Until next time, you've probably seen this one before.